We're getting started with some workouts. We haven't been able to do much, mostly just individual workouts. The guys are lifting. We plan on using, the next few weeks, next 3 weeks until mid-October. The first date we can start practice is October 14th. But I think we'll probably start even a little later than that and really just try to get the guys in shape. We're not in basketball shape. We're not in good enough shape to really start practice. So it's going to be, a 2 or 3 week period here where we're just really trying to get them in running shape. And, defensive slides are not their favorite things, but we're going to have to get their legs build up a little bit, so that they're able to do some things in practice. But it's great to have them back. It's great to have everybody back on campus, and, sure hope that, we can keep everybody healthy. That's a concern for all coaches, for all administrators right now is, to keep the guys, available to work out and make sure that, no one gets seriously sick here.
Thanks, Coach. Our first question today will be from James Crepea.
Hey, Dan, I wanted to start on a scheduling question. I know that you have up to 7 non-conference games you can add, and everything's in flux, but what is the status of everything? Is the Emerald Coast Classic, is that done? Is that over? I haven't seen any updates there. And in Baylor and Vegas, I know Baylor went on to schedule Gonzaga, but I'm hearing Vegas may turn out to be a potential venue, if not that game itself. So just what's the status of the non-conference schedule at this point?
Well, James, right now everything is up in the air. Baylor actually is playing a conference game on the 19th, but they have decided not to come to Vegas. But from what I understand, they're playing Kansas State on that date. But it's totally up in the air. You asked about the tournament in Florida. I was in conversations this morning with Illinois. I talked to Iowa State yesterday. There's just a lot of question marks, and conferences right now are still trying to figure out the protocol, for their road games, whether they be non-conference or conference. And so, Pac-12 is not behind because the Big Ten hasn't figured out their non-conference protocol. The Big 12, the Southeast Conference, were the 4 conferences that are represented in the tournament in Florida, and we all have question marks. And so to answer your question, you summed it up when you said everything's in flux, because it is. Right now, I couldn't tell you when we're going to open, who we're going to open with. And I bet if you asked most of the teams across the country, they'd probably be in the same boat. I know a lot of the MTEs are waiting for the NCAA to establish the criteria or the protocol this week for MTEs. And so that hasn't even been determined. And I know the NCAA medical group is working on that. And so until that comes out, until the conference's requirements for non-conference games comes out, it's pretty hard to put a schedule together. I know that every team in our league is scrambling, just like every team across the country, I think, is scrambling to put a schedule together.
And if you move Michigan to next year, that was my understanding, is the Michigan game basically pushed back a year? Yeah,
we're going to have to push it back. We're in talks with them trying to figure out, when we can get that game in. But that game was scheduled before November 25th, and so it will be moved back.
Thank you.
Thanks, James. Next question, Matt Prehm.
Hi, Dana.
Hey, Matt.
How are you?
Doing well.
Curious about this roster. You say you always like to work with older teams, and it seems like even though you lost a couple seniors, this is going to be another one of those older teams where you've got some vets. Just kind of, what are your thoughts on this group of guys?
Well, I like working with all teams. Older teams have some advantages. Younger teams, sometimes that enthusiasm is a lot of fun to work with. But, sometimes when you have an older team, those guys are a little more focused on what has to happen for them right away, where freshmen coming in, they're looking long-term, and sometimes takes a while to understand that it's a team game, and, our goals have to be met as a team. And usually older players understand that a little bit better. But, I like our guys. I think we have enough talent to have a very competitive team. I'm a little worried in some areas. Our shot blocking is not as good as what some of our other teams have been, but I do like our perimeter strength. I think we've got a lot of good shooters. I think we've got a lot of guys that can do a lot of things. You mentioned the old guys and the experiences. I've always said after talent, I think experience is the second most important quality. And I think we have talent, and I do think we have some good experience. So I think it'll be a fun team to work with.
Thanks, Matt. We'll go to Hayden Herrera and then Ashley Conklin.
Hey, Coach. Kelly Graves was telling us earlier just about the effect that the COVID restrictions have had on recruiting. It's been something, he's unlike anything he's seen in his years. What has it been like for you with this dead period? And I know you told us 6 months ago that your wife would have a lot of projects for you in this time. How many of those have you gotten to?
Well, Hayden, with the thought that she might hear this at some point in time, or somebody, I haven't done anything. I am the laziest guy around the house. I thought maybe this last 6 months I would do something, but I didn't. So it's kind of my way of helping the economy. We try to hire somebody to do everything, but no, I think that moving forward, we've got to do a lot of things in recruiting that you do it a certain way for a long time. I really think evaluation of players and their interactions with their teammates and their coaches is so important, and you miss that. I want to know how guys react when they're down, and when they're behind in a game. I want to see the interaction with their teammates when things aren't going well for them, over a long summer. You don't get to see those things, and that's really important in the evaluation period, the interaction with coaches, the interaction with teammates, not only just their physical talent, but, their feel for the game, and when they're sending out those clips, they're not sending out their bad moments, they're sending out their good moments. And so the evaluation has been difficult. It's very difficult for them. I feel bad for the class of, 20, the late signees, and 21. They don't get to come to campus. There's so many guys have committed, and, we haven't had anybody on campus. And, so it's really hard for them. Fortunately, we had some juniors that were on campus, because of location or whatever early. But as far as paid visits and bringing people in, it's just really tough. So the class of 21, that's really tough on them. A lot of the late signees, the class of 20, I think it was hard on them. And, recruiting is different. We've done all the Zooms and all that. But again, in-person contact, the feel that you get, the players, to come and meet all your players, the guys they're going to be playing with, see the facilities, meet the people over in the academic center, the weightlifting coach, all the people they're going to be working with. Those are things that are really tough for a student athlete to miss out on. And, you worry about making mistakes, mistakes in recruiting, or, they can really bog you down. And so, I've got a great staff, got complete trust in Tony and Mike and Kevin, Josh, been with me for a long time, and I got a lot of confidence in them. but it's been a unique period for all of us. And, you know, we just got to hope that, you know, the personalities that we're meeting online on these Zoom calls match up with the kind of guys that we've gotten in the past that want to compete at a really high level and want to play on a team.
Thank you. We'll go to Ashley, the registered guard, next, and then back to James.
Dana, how long did it take you to get over the end of last season, being unable to play in the Pac-12 tournament, no NCAA tournament, especially given how well you guys were playing at the end of the regular season last year?
Well, you know, that time of year, Ashley, is always the most exciting for our players and our coaching staff. You know, you work your tail off all summer and then a 6-month season, you know, and that's the time where you hope it's all come together. It is the most exciting time of the year. You know, the whole nation's geared in, and, you know, I love conference tournaments and, you know, all 12 teams coming in and competing at a high level. Everybody's wanting the same thing. And, you know, every basket, every game means so much. And then your opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament is what guys dream of, you know. And we had Shakur and Anthony Mathis that came here for that reason. You know, they had never played in the tournament, and that was the only reason they came, is they wanted that opportunity to win a conference title and to go play in the tournament. And so I felt bad for the seniors. You know, Peyton had such a great year, and Shakur and Anthony Mathis, you know, felt bad for them. You know, as a coach, you know, we get an opportunity to do this, you know, a lot of years. You know, I'm starting, you know, 41st year as a coach and 30 some in Division I. So, you know, we get that opportunity a number of times, but man, those seniors, that was their last go around. So you feel bad for them, but, you know, at the time, you know, you were just so concerned of what was happening, you know, end of March and April there, you're just like, you know, what's going on? You know, you were really kind of concerned about health and making sure your guys were okay, making sure your family was okay. You really couldn't feel sorry for yourself. But now as I look back, you know, there's no doubt I feel bad for the seniors. And, you know, we're like everybody. It's easy to say we're playing pretty good. We could have got on a run. You know, it's easy for everybody to say that now, but I really felt like we were playing pretty well. I think we'd won 4 in a row there to end the season. And, you know, our guys were getting a pretty good feel. Dante was coming back, and Chris's finger, we thought after the conference tournament, he'd be ready to go. So we felt like we were kind of getting all our bullets in the gun and being ready to make a run. But, you know, I felt bad for the seniors, I guess, Ashley, to answer your question.
Okay, thanks. In the spirit of our baseball playoffs today, we'll go James at the plate, Jerry Thompson, you're on deck, Matt Prehm in the hole.
Dana, back to the recruiting bit you were just mentioning. I asked Kelly this as well. Having mentioned that, you know, just the obvious logistical difficulties in recruiting this time, do you still feel that the early signing period is appropriate? I realize there's also mid-year enrollees and other things that are just different in basketball. Or do you think that the early signing period should be wiped out and everybody should just sign in April this year?
Well, I don't think you can wipe it out. There's so many guys that have made commitments, James, you know, and there's a lot of local flavor where guys have, you know, been able to investigate their opportunities as juniors because they were able to take their visits. So I don't think they'll wipe it out. I don't think there's any reason to. If guys know what they want to do, you know, I think they need to go ahead and do it. But it is different, you know, and you know, if a young man's not sure, you know, they probably should wait. It's a big decision. And, you know, I've always said, you know, you got to know that you're all in. You got to have both feet in the boat. And so if you're not sure, we understand that. We want guys that want to be here and are sure they want to be here. Those are the guys who have been successful, whether it's here or Creighton or Kansas State way before that. The guys that knew they want to be there, you know, were always the guys that worked through the ups and downs. And so, you know, we're not ever pressuring anybody to sign or anything. Hey, we want guys that want to be here, and those are the guys that have been successful over the years. And we hope to get a couple guys early, just like everybody. But I think they need to have it, James, because I think guys do know what they want to do. But if they don't, I'm sure there'll be some of them waiting till that late period just to make sure that maybe after January 1, they let them come visit. We're dead until January 1. Can't have the home visits, can't have anybody on campus for official visits. It makes it awfully difficult for some guys to make a good decision.
Thank you.
Thanks, James. Okay, Jerry Thompson, and then Matt.
Good to see you, Coach, after we both survived that horrible flight in and out of Salt Lake City to Nebraska. Hope your dad's doing all right, too. That was white knuckles. Anyway, as far as Nafali Dante, and say his name correctly, do they get individual workouts? Because, basketball is one sport that you can work on your offense quite a bit. You don't have to have anybody around you. And the whole team, do they get a lot of individual workouts, and what do you expect from him? He's pretty raw this first year.
Well, that's all we were able to do, Jerry, over the course of the summer, is do the individual workouts because of our state regulations. We did have a few players. Dante was here quite a bit of the summer, and we only had really 2 or 3 guys that were here to work out. But Dante was one of those guys. He made progress. He seems to be healthy with his knees, which is going to be a big part of it. He's really fought some tendonitis, and he's doing a good job with that, working with the trainers, trying to stay healthy. And that's going to be a big part of his success. When he was healthy last year, he had a dramatic impact on games. And so, I sure hope that, we can keep him healthy. But to answer your question, he has worked on his individual game, and that's all our players have been able to do. We're still in just individual workouts, and hopefully here, when we get the testing, we can get cleared to start doing some team things as a group. But right now, I told the guys we just got to work on getting in shape and getting ready for team stuff, working on our individual games as much as we possibly can. But I think the conditioning, Jerry, is the big part of it, because, our guys are used to playing pickup games. Okay, so we get done with our season late March. They usually take a couple weeks off, but then they're right back at it and playing pickup games and getting up and down, and all summer playing pickup games. They've had none of that. March, April, May, all the gyms were shut down. June, July, August, guys can't get together and play. They can't play here on, they'd play all summer up in our gym, up in our practice court. None of that. So you can imagine, a basketball player, how they're conditioning, and guys running on their own and doing defensive slides on their own. Even the most disciplined kids have a hard time, because once they get a little tired, they need somebody pushing them, they need somebody after them a little bit conditioning. Heck, we all do. There's very few people that can do it on their own. And as you get older, we're all perfect cases of that. It gets hard to do it on your own. And, but, I'm really worried about our conditioning. And then, you start, and chances for injuries go way up if you're not in great shape, and if you haven't been doing a lot for 6 months. So we're going to take it really slow. We're not going to be in any hurry. Like I said, these next 3 weeks, a lot of conditioning, and the first couple of weeks of practice, there won't be a lot of live activity. It'll be mostly, conditioning, dry offense, dry break, a lot of defensive drills that without contact. It'll probably be the second, third, even fourth week of practice before we do our traditional defensive drills, one-on-one full, block out drills, the drills that some of you have seen us do in practice. We may not get to those till the third or fourth week of practice.
Okay, thank you. Next up, Matt Prehm, and then we'll go to Ashley Conklin.
Yeah, Dana, we haven't spoken to you since you added a couple guys to the roster, and Aaron Estrada and Hardy, and also Figueroa. I was just kind of curious, just what your thoughts on those three additions, and will they be eligible to play this season?
Well, to answer your second question first, we're still working on that. Amari is fine. He's a grad transfer, and Jalen Terry is here. Aaron and LJ, would have to file waivers, to be immediately eligible, and we're in the process of doing some work on that, and I'm not sure what the timetable will be on that. But as far as the new additions, I like their talent level. I think all of them, could fill a role for us. Without getting them on the floor and working them out, it's a little tough to say. But as people, I like them. During the recruiting process, I really enjoyed getting to know them. As much as we could do with Zooms and over the phone, but I do like the additions. I think that Jalen gives us a very explosive, quick, point guard. Amari, I think, can play the point. He can play the off. LJ can play a lot of spots. He's, very versatile, and I think Aaron's going to be a good guard. He's going to take some time to make the adjustment to our level, just like Jalen making an adjustment to Division I. But I think all four of those guys are solid and could definitely help us.
Okay, we'll go question from Ashley Conklin and then Drew Reeves.
Along those lines, Dana, with the newcomers and some of the guys who had to sit out for you last year after transferring in, are there any maybe one or two guys out of that group that you're really excited to see how they kind of blend with Chris and Will and those guys?
Well, I'm really excited about the two we had sitting out because I know them, a lot better. Eric Williams and Eugene, were with us all year. And so, just naturally, it's a little easier to be excited about them because I know what they can give us. Eric's, a very tough-minded defender, can shoot it, pretty good athlete. Eugene's a powerful athlete, very versatile, can score inside, outside. Both guys very competitive. So, you just got a better feel for those guys. But, we wouldn't have brought LJ and Amari in if we didn't think they could help us right away. If you've looked at our history with, our grad transfers or guys we bring in, we've got a role for them. We've got something in mind. And as long as they come in and work their tails off, it's been a pretty good situation for those guys, and it's been a great situation for us. Anthony Methodist and Shakur being the latest examples of that. They came in and did a great job for us. We wouldn't have won the conference and been in a good position to make a run without those two guys. So we have a purpose for LJ. We have a purpose for Amari. But like I said, Eugene and Eric, because we've been with them for a year, it's just a little easier at this point in time, sitting here on September 30th, to be excited about them because they've been with us for a year.
Drew Reeves, you are up.
My question is just regarding COVID-19. The Pac-12 is already doing daily rapid testing, and they just announced another partnership to do supplemental testing. Can you just briefly talk about how important this extra testing and safety precautions are for the success of the season?
Well, obviously, the fact that we're even talking about getting started in November and that football's, talking about getting started, a big part of that is the rapid testing and the health and safety that we believe it will give our student athletes. So, we haven't been involved yet with the rapid testing. We're going to try to be getting that going here in the next week or two. But, I know our players have been tested a number of times, and I know that Rob, the administration here, they're going to move forward cautiously, making sure that everybody's healthy, and it's just unique time, and we're making sure that we move forward and try to stay competitive, but not at the risk of putting anybody in danger. And so we're going to be cautious, but there is no doubt that the rapid testing and the amount of testing that we're going to be able to do when we have it was a big part of the decision to try to proceed.
Looks like we've got time for about one more round of questions, so we'll go with Ashley, Matt, and James.
Dana, I was wondering if you could comment on the role that Mike Menega and others have played on campus with the Keep It 100 initiative to get all the student athletes on campus registered to vote for the general election next month, or on November 3rd, excuse me.
Well, Mike's really been active with that. I think it's been everybody in the athletic department, to make sure our student athletes, it's a peaceful way, to make your voice be heard. And, I want our athletes to express themselves. I don't think I'm in the minority when I say that the violence, I think has to stop. I don't think that's good for anybody, but I do want our student athletes to have an opportunity to express themselves. But the most basic and the most peaceful way is to vote, and to let people know how you feel. So, Mike's been really instrumental in that. I know that we have all our athletes on campus registered to vote. Our basketball team, Mike got our basketball team right away, and it's, getting everything figured out with people from all over the country. It's not the easiest thing to get everybody registered, but, Mike did a great job with our basketball team, and I know everybody on campus has really been focused, on just getting everybody registered and making a statement that we think voting for everybody is really important.
Thanks. Go Matt Prehm, and looks like our last question after that will be from James Crepea.
It's no one person can replace what Peyton Pritchard brought to the table for you guys, but what are your thoughts on Will and the opportunity he has ahead of him for his third year in the program?
Well, Will is, made a tremendous jump from his freshman and sophomore year, and he's wanting to make another jump. He's a hard worker. He's someone that's really focused. I like his talent level. He's got a great feel for what we're doing now. I think he was a little tentative his freshman year, and I think you could see as his sophomore season moved on how much more aggressive he got. So I've got great faith in Will. I think he'll have a heck of a junior year for us. I think he'll be more of a leader. He's pretty quiet guy, and I would hope that he would, because he has such a good feel for what we're trying to do, and the guys all respect him, I'm hoping he'll take a little bit more of a leadership role. But as far as him individually, I know he'll make another big step. He loves the game. He's passionate about the game. And, I like his talent, like I said, and get him to use that right hand a little bit more. I think he'd really be dangerous. So he's had a good off season, and I know he'll be ready to go.
Thanks, Dana.
Okay, the final question today from James Crepea.
Dana, I know you're a humble man, and I'm sure you frankly I know you didn't do it for the praise and the attention. I'm sure you didn't really like me publishing it, that I stumbled into it via public records request on unrelated things. But I wanted to ask you about giving back your bonus, because obviously that's quite the gesture. And you got a lot of praise, including from Michael Schill, and I'm sure he reached out to you afterward, but just what went into the thought process to ultimately do that, because there are coaches out there who are being chastised for not even agreeing to take pay cuts at all. And not only is everybody taking cuts, you give back the bonus to the student fund for the greater university.
Well, James, this is trying times for everybody, and people being furloughed and, people who live from paycheck to paycheck. My wife and I have been very fortunate, so it was an easy thing to do. And you're right. President Schill and everybody were, very thankful, but, it's just something that was easy to do, giving back part of our salaries, the least we can do. And it's still, we've got a lot in front of us, James, and, not only our university, but our athletic department, our country, and trying to get people back to work and things back to some type of normal, once we get this virus at least a little bit under control. So it's going to be trying times for all of us, as we come up. I've been talking to the team just simply about, we like structure. Even our team loves structure. We want to know the 27 games we're playing. We want to know what's happening tomorrow for practice. Coaches love structure. We got our practice plan figured out as soon as they told us we're playing on November 25th. We dictated what we're going to do the next 9 weeks to get ready to go. But I know in my heart that plan is going to be tore up and rearranged probably every week, maybe every other day. I don't know, because we just don't know. And so in these times, we got all pulled together, whether it's our basketball team, whether it's our athletic department, whether it's a university, whether it's our state, and we're all going to have to make sacrifices. But it's just part of it, James. I know probably everyone on this call, has had to make some kind of sacrifice, and hopefully help somebody out, because we're all a little more fortunate than someone. And so anyway, going to be an interesting season, going to be an interesting football season, trying to get that going. I'm glad that our football players, football coaches are able to look ahead and try to get something going. And I hope our student athletes understand that they're going to get an opportunity, that they've got to have some self-discipline, and try to stay healthy. We all have to have some discipline and try to stay healthy. And hopefully we'll have some basketball games, and hopefully on November 7th, we'll have a good football season to work our way through. But thankful to the commissioner and everybody who's worked hard to try to put something together. And President Schill's been a big part of that. So hopefully, we'll be able to move forward without too many glitches, but we are going to have some. There are going to be bumps in the road, and we're going to have to be really flexible, and our team's going to have to be really disciplined and really flexible with the ups and downs of a season.
Thanks.
All righty. We hopefully we'll be seeing you guys. Hopefully everybody stay healthy, and we're going to have some games to play. And I don't know if they'll let you guys in though. There we go. I don't know if you might have to watch them on TV and write TV. So I don't know if they'll let you in. So hopefully some family and coaches' families, hopefully they'll let some people in, and you guys might be the only ones getting to watch some of the games. I don't know, but hopefully we'll have a season. Look forward to seeing you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you making the time.
Coach.
Thanks, everyone.